Welcome back to Jack Theology. Talk about some more Jack Theology today and getting jacked. Excited.
Yeah, today's a special episode, right? I don't think we've ever done one like this. I guess we've never
No.
been. This podcast has never existed during a presidential election, so this should be
Yeah.
fun.
I took advantage of early voting today. So I got my I voted sticker.
Congratulations!
I did it right before the recording of this.
You have done your American civic duty.
Yeah, I entered into the sacrament of voting. So if anybody who out there thinks I'm not American, I'm very American. I paid my taxes and I voted. Two most American things you can do.
I mean, it's probably not going to be difficult for us to guess who you voted for unless the shirt is in irony or effigy. It's a sweet shirt. I mean, I think no matter which side of the political aisle you're on, I gotta admit that's a sweet shirt.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of Trump flags going around town, and I thought I needed to see some more Kamala, so I got online and got one. My first political shirt. I also bought a Barack Obama shirt with it, um, and my favorite president in my lifetime. I'll just let the cat out of the bag. He's the
Obama.
man. Obama.
I was not on the Obama train during Obama's presidency, and that was yeah, I feel like I missed it. You know, even if politically you disagree with Obama, I think has turned out to be a good man, and I don't think I was able to see that at the time, and I'm a little disappointed in myself. It has made me rethink the way I look at politics and the way I look at people. And some of the people who I had really kind of looked up to and idolized, you know, the older that I've gotten, more mature I've become, I've realized I still may appreciate some of their politics, but they just weren't really good people. And when it comes to presidents, they weren't really good men. And so it has reframed the way I look at presidential elections and politics, and really in general, I guess, politics.
Yeah, that's good. I fell in love with Obama the first time around. I
It
think
was a
because
movement.
yeah, he did a good job of sucking me in. He had that aura about him that made you think you could have a beer with him. That's honestly why I voted for him in the first time.
I love that,
I
man.
was like,
Did you see that the first this it probably wasn't the first speech he gave, but at the Chicago convention where it was like the first time anybody saw him,
yeah, yeah,
where he spoke, and that speech I caught live, and I turned to my wife and I was like, he's going to be president someday. Like, just
oh yeah,
it just
yeah,
had this charisma
yeah,
that was just amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He did, and I loved. I'm glad that Kamala brought him back for some stump speeches. It's fun to listen to him speak again, and he has that. He has it. You know, he's
Yeah,
got
he's a bit
that
like
thing.
Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton and he both were incredible orators. Uh, Reagan was an incredible orator as well. In
Yeah.
our lifetimes, I'm not sure that I can think of any other presidents that were incredible orators. Trump, in his own
Not.
way, is an orator. He's kind of the anti-orator, but
Yeah.
he has an ability to connect with an audience in a way that is different than them, but no less effective.
Yeah. I think that's important. If you're going to win a presidency, you got to be able to capture a crowd in your speech, and he definitely does that. And I read about Trump. I mean, I did a lot of reading. I mean, people think that I just I mean, I'm sure you get this too. Just
Oh, I
listen to
did, yeah.
mainstream MSN. That's all you do.
I'm like,
Mainstream
more
media.
media is owned by conservatives than by liberals. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. So I was reading up about Trump a lot, and he is kind of a mastermind on communication.
Oh yeah,
He
he's
knows
brilliant.
he knows that half the world hates him, and he doesn't care about us. He cares about the people that love him, and he speaks to them. And he'll lie. He even says, they'll believe anything I say." And he doesn't care about convincing you and I, like we're not his audience. And so I think that's actually smart. He knows who he's speaking to, and he
Yeah, it
riles
is in
them
a
up.
devious kind of way. It is.
Yeah,
It's the gift that every politician wants, but in the wrong hands can be very dangerous. You know, in the hands of a narcissist, in the hands of a liar, in the hands of somebody who doesn't have the nation's best interest at heart, can be um, disastrous. And I think that that's the rub here in the election. is it is about politics, issues, and personalities. But I think at the end of the day, there is a lot of well-founded fear of what happens if Trump gets back into office. What happens to democracy? You know, what happens to the union? I don't think that those are unfounded fears on the basis of what we saw the last time through. But it's in the hands of the voters. This is like, right, the beauty and the curse of living in a constitutional republic, in a democracy.
Yeah, the MSG. I wanted to spend some time on that. The
Yeah, which it took me forever to realize Madison Square Gardens, the rally. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah, this week, Madison Square Garden rally. Wow.
yeah, it's the last. That's his kind of last pitch to America to vote for him, really, because a lot of early voting has started this week, um, and that's the message that he puts out, which is fascinating. There's so much there, but you like he signaled that this is the end of democracy. In that he's signaling that no matter in his mind, no matter what happens on election day or with the voting, he's going to be president. He hinted at some master plan with Mike Johnson to um, change the way the president's elected. A lot of conspiracies about that, but again, I'm not listening to the mainstream media. I'm listening to your boy Donald Trump and what
Yeah.
he said at his rally.
Here's the thing, though, Matt.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I thought that it was just Trump, saying these things. And I don't know whether it was only, it was not only Trump from the beginning who was saying these things. I don't know whether Trump has convinced other people of these things. But I think what you said about his ability to connect with his audience, I'm not sure that his audience really wants democracy anymore. Uh, they want power and control, and by any means necessary, do they want that? And I don't just mean MAGA. I don't just mean Republicans. I just don't just mean evangelicals, though I think that probably the majority of those groups are a part of that movement. But there is a part of a movement, I think, that Donald Trump leads as a bit of a Pied Piper that, to me, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, doesn't seem to want true democracy anymore and is willing to do whatever it takes in order to maintain control or power so that what they want to happen happens no matter what.
Yeah, I
And
think you're
that
right.
scares me if that's
Yeah,
true. But
yeah.
that's how I'm starting to feel, is it's not just Trump.
No, I agree with you. He knows what his people want. I think a lot of them. I mean, we see them on Twitter. They want that. They want a fascist authoritarian government, and
By any means
he's
necessary. Yeah.
yeah, he's going to give it to them. And
Well, I mean, the repeal of the 19th Amendment, right? That we're seeing all over, all through Christianity in some of these circles, take away women's right to vote. Well, whose right to vote is going to be removed next after women?
yeah, well, they want to take away everybody's that doesn't agree with them. I mean, if you really go down the list, anybody who disagrees with them, they want to take away their right to vote. That's why they want to take women's right to vote away, by the way, because they vote against conservatism. By and large, women vote Democrat. And probably many of these conservative figureheads, their wives are voting for Kamala, which is hilarious.
Cancel
And
each other
probably
out. I love it.
and probably lying to their husbands, telling them that she voted for Trump,
Yeah, this
which is
happens in
sad.
fundamentalist households, though, right? And I don't just mean religious fundamentalist households, political fundamentalist households as well. There's not safety in those places. There's abuse, and yeah, they're lying to their spouse about what they're doing and living in fear.
So he signaled in that the end of democracy. He signaled Nazi methods. I mean, he quoted what the 1798 Immigration Act that was last invoked here in America when we put Japs and Germans into labor camps, and it smells very Nazi-like. And saying on day one, he said, "Day one, I'm going to put all these immigrants," and he didn't really even specify which kind of immigrants.
It doesn't have to, right? It's whoever in the
No,
moment. It's whoever's against. This is terrifying.
yeah,
It's coming from a national platform. Their people are not pushing back on it. They're not just ignoring now Nazi overtones. They're now making Nazi references outright. They're embracing actual literal Nazis in their platform, giving them voices. And people aren't just ignoring it now, but people are actually now saying, yeah, okay, maybe so. Maybe Hitler did have the right idea. Maybe what was going on there was a good thing. Like we're to a point now where it's not just ignoring it or pretending like it didn't occur. Now a large majority of the people who follow the Trump movement are embracing literal Nazis and Nazism. And I'm just like, what? And Christians, and I'm like, what world am I living in?
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we had our degree in semiotics, and the semiotics too of having this event at MSG with the messaging they put out when the last time there was a huge political event at MSG in 1939. It was the Nazi party in America that had their big rally at MSG, and so I don't think that should be lost on us either. Like Trump, as we've said, isn't stupid. I don't think. I think that was definitely connecting the dots there by at least some on his team, which is another scary thing, and it kind of adds to the whole thing. I think Trump supporters who might argue with us that he's not a Nazi would be say, "Oh, he's just trolling you guys. It's just a troll effect." I don't think that. I think he admires Hitler. He said it. I think he admires Putin. He admires these guys who have ended democracy and become authoritarian. That's what he wants. It's been stated over and over again by those who are on the inside, his inner circle, and yeah, Christians want him. And so after I watched a lot of this, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched a lot of the bits, a lot of the speeches. There's also thick with racism. That went viral with kind of the opening act. Again, he knew what he was doing. I know he's a comedian. If this guy, all he does is roast people. That's his kind of shtick. But you put him up there knowing full well what is going to come out of his mouth. And in politics,
Yeah.
what comes out of the stage's mouth, I mean, that's what you believe. And he didn't try to recant it later.
Yeah.
I went looking for that.
It's interesting. I've seen several, I haven't checked back in today, but I've seen several hardline, strong Republican Christians, like Tom Buck, for instance, distancing themselves and calling out that what went on at that rally and those, which was surprising to me. I'm thankful for that because it still means that there are people out there within evangelicalism, within Christianity, who at least have some sort of an ethical radar and aren't willing to cross any line. The scary thing to me is I wonder how long that will last. I feel like when you're on that journey towards compromise, you only have a few opportunities where the gut check stops you from moving forward. And I hope, I pray that a number of Christians who have been on the Trump train and who have been contributing and moving along with this movement will begin to wake up and push back in another direction. Not necessarily towards Kamala, not necessarily towards the Democrat platform and party. But we got to have people on all places in Christianity who are beginning to point out that the emperor has no clothes, and whether it's Trump or anybody else other than Trump, this is not okay. A repeat of the 30s and 40s Germany is not a place Christianity wants to be, because a large part of that was caused because of Christianity being off the rails. I also don't know how it's avoidable at this point. It feels like an impossibility to avoid it.
Yeah. I mean, my heart was, it's good to hear, especially Tom Buck. I hadn't seen that, but my heart was breaking, and I'm looking at some comments because I posted that I voted for Kamala on Facebook today, and some Christian brothers and pastors are commenting on that post, and it's sad to see that you hear all of that messaging and you still support him. I'm with you. Like, you don't have to support Kamala. You don't support the Democratic platform. I don't support everything Kamala stands for by any means. You don't have to. I mean, many people have got up there and say, "Oh, it's really a vote against Trump." But you also, I was in there at the booth today, and there's probably 15 different candidates for president on the ballot. So, and you can write in somebody. So there's so many options for you. You don't have to be just Trump because that's what you've always done is voted Republican. You can in this election you could not vote for him. I think that would be actually the Christian thing to do is not to vote for Trump. So I think it's good to see that. I've been working on a blog post, and I don't know if I'll ever post it, but just like in my heart, just this like lamenting like where Christianity has come, that this is where we're at, like that we support a man who would call a group of people garbage, who would threaten on day one to
Yeah.
because you're an brown immigrant, you're going to jail. It's just so sad,
There's
and my
nothing of
heart breaks.
Jesus in that. I'm just
No,
trying to imagine Jesus listening, to that comedian and when he said about Puerto Ricans and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera during that event. I'm just trying to imagine Jesus' face during that. And I cannot think that any person who truly knows anything about Jesus, even if it isn't much, and tries to imagine Jesus' face during those moments, walks away in any way, shape, or form thinking that Jesus is happy, condoning of that, or would do anything whatsoever to support that mindset. It just, what the has happened to Christians? Like, I
yeah.
don't I don't even get it. Like, wake the F up.
I mean, it goes back to what we were talking last week, like where David Bentley Hart quote, where when Christianity actually reaches our shores, it's not going to be well received. I just think a lot of these people aren't Christian. Like you can't call yourself a Christian and back this guy in these ways. Um, I could even respect you if you are like if you saw my post and you're like, yeah, I get why you did that. Um, and Trump's awful, but I just have to vote Republican. I would respect that over what I get is people just defending him left and right. Um, that's what I don't understand. I don't respect it. It's not Christian in any way. Yeah, I'll just put it out there. I mean, I just don't think it is. And then we're gonna get people too that like this. Our comments here and throughout the last few months as we've been commenting is like, you two pastors need to be silent, right? You shouldn't be talking about this stuff. Um,
I got one today. Your side thinks this. What is my side?
yeah, yeah.
I'll
But
gladly tell you who I'm going to vote for, and you could probably guess, but it's not my side. I mean, I certainly am not at all counting myself in the other side, but I'm not on a side.
yeah,
I will go against either party. I'll go against any politician, and I will speak out on behalf of any party or politician that I feel like does the right thing for people, for the nation, and usually that's through the lens of my faith. But like, come on,
yeah.
you progressive
Um,
pastors, who's progressive? What what
I know.
what makes me progressive? And I bet there are like one or three litmus test issues that make me progressive, and I could probably name them for you.
Yeah,
Point those out to me in any creed.
the silence thing just gets me riled up because all Jesus did was talk about politics. I mean, that was his whole purpose is to create a new kind of ordering of the world, which is politics, is how we order and govern the world. And it's like that's all pastors are called to do. And so when I hear that
Yeah,
I
one
should I
hundred
should
percent.
shut up, I should shut up. What I hear is you don't like that I'm disagreeing with how you view the world, and so I should be silent and not say anything. And what kind of I don't know what kind of growth is that? What kind of learning is that? Um, it's not. It's just like you just want to be in your vacuum echo chamber, and you want nothing else in it. And to me, that's
Yeah,
sad. In the words of Donald Trump, sad. Um,
I like that. That was good.
Yeah. So yeah, election day. I think it's safe to say that we're not going to know for sure. We'll probably have a good idea in the day, 24 hours after voting is over. But obviously, no matter what happens, I think Trump is going to create some chaos. He thrives in chaos,
Yeah.
and so
Well,
even
Christians are already saying if Trump does not get elected, I will not believe the results of this election. That it was not true.
yeah,
That it was rigged. I mean, it's not even here. You have literally zero evidence for it, other than the fact that you cannot imagine a world where Trump does not win and you are not in power. I,
yeah,
I mean, so you look around and you see all of the support for Trump, and you think Kamala's an idiot, and nobody would ever vote for her. That doesn't mean you're right. That doesn't mean you get to decry the results of an election as being rigged just because you didn't win and didn't see it coming. If so, then the 2016 election was rigged as well, and Trump never should have been president. If that's the basis.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Hillary won the popular vote, so if anyone could have cried foul, it would have been somebody who won the popular vote and lost the election. Which actually, when you read it, what's going on in data, it could be the opposite this time, where Trump wins the popular vote and loses the election, which would make even more chaotic.
It'll be interesting to see if they care
Yeah,
as much this time as they didn't in 2016, right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, and both political parties do that, right? If your political party is winning that issue, then nobody cares. But if you're losing on that issue, that needs to change.
yeah, yeah. And we're not going to change. I mean,
I wish we would, but you're right.
it's not going to. It might get tweaked, but it's not going to change dramatically. Um, yeah, that's a whole other thing is how they reorganize the districts. I mean, that's kind of how it changes. Is um, whoever's in power in local elections will reorganize the
Gerrymandering, yeah.
vote. Yeah. Um,
It's everything's
so
gaming. Everything's gaming the
yeah,
election.
yeah, yeah, it really is. I think even if Trump wins, and it seems like that's the way it's going, I think he'll still want to create chaos, and he'll be mad over if he loses a close race in a state that he thinks he should have won, and I think he'll still create chaos somehow. And then obviously if he wins, um, and where I'm going to be present as a pastor is just amongst people that are going to be scared for their lives, for their families' lives, because of the color of their skin, and
Yeah.
and that's kind of scary. I mean, people are legitimately really scared because of what Trump is saying.
Yeah. Which Trump is giving that like sunshine, like he's giving that light and air to breathe, but Trump's not really doing that. That's Republicans, that's Christians, that's people who are in MAGA who are doing that, who through their rhetoric and what they're saying, who are causing the real fear among people who are not white males. And we have to own that, I guess is what I'm saying. We can blame Trump, and he should be blamed for his treatment and dishonesty and lying about immigrants and refugees and just people of color who live here. But the reality is, you and I being pastors, Christian pastors, Christians have to own the fact that we are working, speaking, and acting in opposition to Christ and to our faith on that topic. Completely and totally 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, putting people in fear because of the color of their skin or their immigration status, really? Where's Christ in
yeah,
any of that?
yeah.
Well, heaven has
It's bad.
borders. Oh my God.
Well, they're eating the dogs, Kevin. Um, yeah, there's real fear. I mean, you should hear that if somebody considering voting Trump has made it this far in the episode. You should feel that there is real
Yeah,
fear
and there
for
should be.
their lives.
I
You
mean, there
know,
should be. I
you
mean, that's
under,
not unfounded fear. I mean, let's just be honest. It's
yeah,
not unfounded fear. They should be in fear. It is unhinged. It's off the rails. It's not unfounded fear. At one point, I thought, it's unfounded. Not anymore.
no. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say other than lament. I lament that the church has gotten to this point. Um, it's I had hoped that we would see more. We'd see the data change this time around. That less Christians would support Trump, but it's the same, if not more. I mean, some of the data I read, um, it's more than last time around, which is frightening. And so, what does that mean for the church going forward too? That this is where we are, and it's not just evangelicals. I mean, you look at it. I mean, evangelicals is the highest, but each, he gets a lot of support from every type of Christian, and so I think it's pervasive in all churches, all traditions of the faith. And why is that? That's a question I think we're going to have to ask and moving forward and address. Why did we get here? Why does it seem that I get the one issue voting thing, like I get that, but why? It seems more than that. It seems like it's more than just saving babies at this point. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, I agree too. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, Matt, but I 100% agree with that as well. There's something bigger. There's something deeper. I guess maybe I would frame it as there's something within Christianity right now in U.S. America that is broken. Something that is buried, undiscovered. I don't. It's hard to put language around, but there's something embedded deep that we are unable to see, and it's death, it's cancer, it's rotten, but it's there, and it's slowly taking over and eating away at
hmm.
all of us.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it too, um, like we talked about this, like Lynn Sweet talked about this, and you did a blog post about it earlier in the election cycle about the civic religion um, idea, and I think a big reason probably is that civic religion and our faith religion have become one and merged, and a lot of folks can't see beyond that. Like for a lot of folks, the Trump Bible is the Bible. Like, yeah, finally somebody put the Declaration of and Constitution in the scriptures because it's holy. It's right up there with the scriptures. It's biblical. I've heard that. What's biblical? It came from the Bible, and so for them, it's like to argue. Yeah, to argue against anything they believe in the American system is to argue against their faith. Um, I think that's a big problem to be addressed.
Yeah, and pastors by and large have not really done a good job. Churches by and large have not really done a good job of separating out the difference between God and country. Even just marrying those two words together, God and country, is kind of dangerous. And I think for decades and decades we have held July 4th and patriotic rallies in churches. We put the American flag on the platform, and I kind of rail and laugh sometimes about those things, and we've had our own squabbles and skirmishes in churches over little things that don't seem like big things. But I think we have embedded the nation and patriotism and the country into the church in small ways that grew to be big ways that we didn't realize the effects that it would have on our people and their ability to discern the difference between uh, their Christian faith and their American faith. Um, and I don't know how we turn it around now.
Yeah. I think it's going to take a generation. It's going to take our kids. Um, so I think our kids are more level headed about this stuff, and
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where. I guess it's not the millennials; it's Gen Z. I don't think Gen Alpha yet votes in this election. If so, they're just, I think, maybe a year or two into voting. It's going to be interesting to see how the youngest people break in this election, and who they break
yeah,
for.
yeah,
To see if there's headwinds there for where the nation is going, or if we've we've got two generations that we have to wait for change. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
yeah, yeah. It'll be interesting. I just see it with my own kids and their friends, like the things, like the social stuff that a lot of Christians get caught up with, isn't even an issue for them. It's the way they talk about it is it's so different. It's so healthy, and so um, I think for a lot of kids, I hear like, why would anybody vote for Trump? And these are kids I know that parents are huge Trumpers, and they're just appalled that anyone would vote for a man like that. So it's anecdotal, but those conversations and those me overhearing some of that is encouraging for sure. And then there's obviously others that are not that. So, but yeah, I don't know. And then part of it is the church even going to be around when Gen Z is our age? It's going to look so different, and it's going to be, I think we're going to still see this people go into their corners. I think the moderate, it's just going to be either you're a more progressive type of church or you're a very fundamentalist type of church. And I think the more moderate churches that we pastored in, kind of the mega church movement, that stuff I think is disappearing, be gone.
Yeah, for the
But
longest time, it seemed like we were going the way of Europe. Um, I'm not sure that we are. Rather than becoming less religious as a society and as a culture here in America, we seem to be becoming more religious. But that faith and that religion is our politics, and so I don't know how that plays out in the number of churches and the type of churches that there are. And I don't know how that looks different than Europe, but I do feel like we are reaching a point of nominal or almost non-existent Christianity. But I don't think it will be replaced with nothing. It feels like it's going to be replaced with something that looks like Christianity, but is very far afield from it. And I think you see, as you said, churches beginning to transition to what that is. You hear that from pulpits. You see that in the social media accounts of who these larger churches and these pastors are doing and saying. And a lot of folks are are falling into it.
yeah, I think you're exactly right. There'll be more state churches, even though we won't call them that. And they'll just be, you know, chaplains of the state, of the empire, type churches, and that, yeah, or not, or just the complete opposite, very subversive or not subversive against the empire, style churches, and depending on who's in power,
I was going to say, which empire?
yeah,
we'll subvert certain empires, but not the others. Hey, Romans 13, obey those who are in authority over you.
yeah,
Like, did you do that? Last presidency, or just do
yeah,
you do that for all of them, or just the ones who you agree with?
yeah,
That verse. Oh my gosh.
yeah. The I was just thinking too that Trump and his followers don't. Not only do they want more like fundamentalist type faiths in churches, but they want to eliminate any other sort of non-Christian type of faith. Like the whole freedom of religion is not important to them. Um, and so my Muslim and Jewish brothers and sisters, You better get ready if Trump's in office to see your freedoms revoked, more and more. And I think even churches like more progressive churches are going to suffer too. Christian churches.
Less fundamentalist churches.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't even have to be progressive. The list of things that make you progressive now, a lot of Republicans are seen as being progressive. You know, a lot of churches that are not progressive are progressive by standards of not matching up to what MAGA wants.
Yeah.
Liz Cheney is not a progressive. I mean, not a progressive at all, but she is seen by these core people as being progressive. You know,
That's very true.
and I
Yeah.
think churches and pastors are the same ways.
Yeah.
People just keep
Yeah, they're
leapfrogging right, and everything that isn't to the right of them is left.
Yeah, that was fascinating. You and I were watching the same Twitter fight about two very fundamentalists, and it was like a fight over who could be more fundamentalist, and it was like a curse word to call the other a progressive because they weren't right enough for each other, which was hilarious. I think you're right. I think you're right. It's like who can get more right faster, which is very scary. Um, yeah. So some closing pastoral thoughts. I think I put it out there in a blog forum, but like vote for love of your neighbor. I think if you can get past Donald Trump, you know, you don't have to vote Democrat. You can vote others. Vote for love of neighbor. I think that's the key. I think be there for your neighbors, especially those with brown skin or not white skin. Those are who are undocumented or immigrants. Be there for them. You know, yeah. Speak out against racism. I mean, the jokes that were told at that rally are not funny. Don't engage with that. No one I know who's a Puerto Rican thought it was funny.
Mm.
So take that. I know the Trumpers, they're like, oh, he's just joking around. But um, yeah, so pastorally, try not to get too personal. I'd say engage in discussion, dialogue, but don't don't roll around in the mud with people. And go vote. Do it. Do your civic American duty. Be American. Go vote. And yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts, Kevin.
Yeah, well, you were thinking that. I mean, when you were talking about that, I was thinking of, and I pulled it up here while you were talking. I was thinking of this slide by Billy is writing that I saw a few days ago, and everybody's put out a Christian voter guide, right? But determine which party or candidate will cause the most suffering for immigrants, widows, orphans, the poor, the incarcerated, the hungry, the disabled, and sick, and the oppressed. And I thought was that very interesting. You know, think about which party or candidate will cause the most suffering, and then do everything you can, including voting, to make sure that that person doesn't win or succeed. Which I thought was an interesting kind of twist on how we think about these things. Understand that those who choose power for themselves and those like them at the cost of causing suffering to the marginalized are far from the way of Jesus. So understand that those people who choose power so that others will end up suffering because of them gaining that power is far from the way of Jesus. And then I love the end. This is difficult and require you to live in a peacemaker's tension, understanding that peace without justice is only oppression in disguise.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's my thoughts.
I like those. I like those. Yeah, that number 1 point, so good, and then all of them are good. But if you filtered your voting through that number one rather than just this don't kill babies thing, I think you'd be a lot more. Um, I don't know, just a lot healthier place. And then I liked number 4 there too, because I hinted at earlier, just those that are trying to silence you, like you can't have peace without justice. Like you need to speak up and you need to engage. You need to speak out against this. I got called. Somebody tried to call me out because how are you being loving to Trump supporters by calling them out? It's like that needs to be called out. This is one of
Yeah.
those.
People do that to me all the time. Why do you always stop saying bad things about Christians? You're only negative about Christians. Well, stop doing shit that I have to call out.
I know. Oh man.
If nobody
Yeah.
calls it out, if there are no, and I, whenever people are like, you're a false prophet, I'm like, I'm not a prophet. Okay. So
Yeah. Yeah.
shut,
Yeah.
but if nobody's going to prophesy, if nobody's going to speak out against these things, then, the nation is going to continue to move away from God. The
Yeah.
Christian nation, the Christian folks are going to continue to move away. Somebody has to speak up and speak out. So I love what you said there about the responsibility of not just maintaining peace or at least silence, but we have to cause unrest at least through our words by speaking out against things, because justice is, Micah 6:8, justice is one of the closest things, if not the closest thing, to the heart of God. So we're still, I hope, in a window of time where enough people see the madness and the chaos and the antichrist influences and direction that things are going, that enough people see that we could still affect change and stem the tide of that, at least within the church. But it's going to take more than just Matt and I and a couple of other folks speaking out. Everybody has to use their voice where they are.
Yeah. It does work. I mean, people are like, I get it. The first time you maybe get called out on something, especially if you have my personality, you're not going to change your ways. But there's been many times where I've been called out, and I'm defensive at first, but then I
You.
reflect upon it. Yeah, I reflect upon it later and be like, you know what, they're right, and I change it. What it does, I mean, and I've experienced that. Speak, and you. That's why I say like, don't get personal, because obviously then people don't listen to you anymore. But if you really engage the issues in a way that um, is good, healthy arguments, it's good. It's good, and people will listen, and they do change their mind over time. Obviously, not in one moment on Twitter are they going to change their mind, but
It's planting a seed.
it's,
Hey, you and I changed
yeah,
our minds. I mean, you
yeah.
and I mean, very
No, we did.
different.
Yeah, yeah,
It took a lot of influences and a lot of time, for that to happen. But a lot of folks, I think, didn't give up on us.
yeah. No, it's true. So, and it wouldn't happen if people didn't speak up. So, speaking up is important. And yeah, one big way to speak up in our culture is to go vote, and I think let people know how you're voting. Um, I'm tired of. I like the old days when people were just honest with who they were voting for, and and then you could go pass the potatoes later at the dinner table, and
Yeah.
you know now it seems like you know I'm sure people have lots of opinions on me announcing who I'm voting for, and it's like, who cares at the end of the day? I have an opinion. I've been strong with it, and if you've been paying attention, you know where I was headed with this, anyways. So
Well, it's because
yeah,
Christians equate the kingdom of man with the kingdom of God. They equate, going back to that America is a religion thing. They equate, casting a vote for the priest of the American culture, the president, as casting a vote for, Jesus or against Jesus. They've conflated their Christian faith with their American faith. And so, yeah, there's a lot of anger and frustration when you don't vote the way that Jesus would vote in their mind. Uh, we can't have table fellowship. We can't be friends. So I think you're right. The ability to go back to a time where we can just be transparent about who we voted for and why we voted that way, and then go have dinner with people we disagree with is a lost art, but one that we have to begin to work to get back if we ever want to see people be able to unravel their Christian faith and their politics here in America, at least in that way that sees it as being a religious experience.
Yeah. Uh, Agreed. Well, that's all I got today.
All right, you ready to move along?
Well, let's do it.
Let's do it. If you made it this far, welcome to the after show where Matt and I spend a little bit of time talking about our fitness journey and what's going on in our lives. So yeah, you've got a race coming up in about a week, right? How's the? I know there have been some questions as to whether or not the body was going to hang in there and cooperate. How's the last week been?
Yeah, what do you call it? I'm on the injury reserve.
No, oh man.
So I may go and walk it. I'm gonna do something. I can walk. I can do that. So I may do that, but I can't run. I tried again today, and I just can't.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
So yeah, it's a bummer, but such is life, right? That's like
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
either way,
Do I need to send you like some
it's a good
healing
lesson.
oils, some essential oils, or something like that? Will that help?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I will see. I'm debating. Kelly and I are trying to figure out whether we go do that or there's some trails nearby and just go do a long hike together there. But we'll do something. I'm taking the day off. I already took it off. I am not skipping out. But
That's so frustrating.
yeah, it is. It's disappointing.
Is it getting worse? Do you feel like it's healing, or is it
It
going in the wrong direction?
I probably should not do anything on it for a week, and then it'd probably heal. But
1 week. That's about it. That's about what time.
I don't know.
Then don't do
But
anything on it for a week, and then see what happens. You might make it to your race.
Yeah, I feel good. Like I'll take a couple days where I go real easy, and then I feel good, and then I like, all right, let me go out and try to run a mile, and then it's like, you know,
6 weeks, right? I mean,
yeah,
6 to 8 weeks off of it, not doing that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Come on, Matt. You know
yeah,
that. You're a smart guy.
I know. So
You're killing me. It's
yeah.
so tough though. It feels like forever, and then you're like, I don't feel this anymore. Like a week and a half in, I'll be fine, and then you do it, and you're like, great, now I've reset the clock.
Yeah. No, well, I knew I couldn't because it was like about 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks out where I heard it. So,
Yeah.
I knew I didn't have enough time, and I knew I had to keep the cardio up if I was going to be able to run it. So I was, walking this fine line. We'll see though. We'll see, but not looking good. But maybe I could reset and revisit a turkey trot. But
Yeah, that might be doable.
yeah, but I'm in the gym today. I PR'd for reps.
Dude,
Shoulder press, which I felt beast about. So I was happy with that.
way to go.
I've been doing a lot of shoulders lately since the old legs have been stay away from. Like, so I've been increasing my strength in my upper body, so that's fun. And I won today, so with that, I was happy. Always good to win.
Way to go. It's always good to hit a PR at our age. Though you're younger than me, but
I find that my PRs are more for reps than like the top end. Although occasionally I'll get a top end PR, but I'll take whatever I can get at this point in my life, right?
I understand.
Unless we get on the TRT, the
yeah, that might help. That might help. That might help some for a while. Then you're gonna hit another ceiling.
Yeah.
There's nowhere from here but down.
I
That's
know.
okay. You just hang on to it as long as you can.
um, yeah. So you are in the last few days, I see.
Yeah, this weekend is the show. It's finally here. The whole journey has been like a year and a half or 2 years. A few missteps, misstarts. Yeah, so it's finally here. I have successfully come through Hell Week, which means the food is now heading back up. And this week, the coach has been slowly easing up on all of the work, which has been nice. It's been weird to be continually doing less and less in the gym rather than more and more in the gym. The food is slowly ratcheting up. Every I have to do a check-in every single day now, pictures, video, everything that I've eaten, how I'm feeling. So that takes like an hour in the morning just to do the check-in. Then he'll respond and give me the food for the day, what I'm supposed to eat on the basis of the picture. So every day it's like tweaking, hoping to hit that sweet spot on Saturday whenever I'm on stage. I'm entered in two categories. One of them is the true novice category, which is first time on stage ever, and the other one is 40s men, 5'8" or above. So there you go. In men's physique, which is the board shorts category, it's like for the the guys who don't look like bodybuilder guys. It's more the fitness category. So yeah, I'm not expecting to win or for anything to happen, but I tell you, just making it on the stage after going through all of the process is crazy to finally be here. And I'm glad because I want to eat relatively normally again. As much as it's nice to look better in the mirror, I'm just like, give me pizza. Give me cake.
Yeah, yeah. Um, your candy corns, right? Your
Yes,
pumpkins.
but did I tell you I've been substituting those out? Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm getting more and more of those now. It's not just one. Now it's like 5 around the workout because he's up my
Mm.
carbs. So it's good. I have though. I'm literally I'm sitting in like a piles of candy corn pumpkins because every time I go to a store that has them, I'll buy like 5 or 6 bags. So I literally have like 35 or 40 bags of candy corn pumpkins sitting. I'm literally just all around me on the floor here in front of
Uh,
me. I'm stockpiling them so that I can slowly ration them out once they stop making. I
that's
have a
so
real,
funny.
I have a real problem, Matt. I have a real problem.
It's amazing.
When you haven't
I guess.
eaten anything like weeks and weeks and weeks, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the lust is strong for
I
food.
guess. I guess I'm a Skittle guy. Um, I've kind of locked in my macros a bit recently, but except for Skittles are around a lot, the candies, and I can't say no to Skittles. So
It's good
I
stuff.
realized, I realized yesterday, I went to clean out my cup holder. Right, I normally grab a bag when I'm going to the car and throw it. It's the little fun size bags. Throw it in my mouth, and then I was cleaning out my cup holder where I put all the wrappers, and I realized I was like, "Holy cow, I got a problem." There's a lot of Skittles wrappers.
What is it? Lynn Sweet said, "Everything in moderation, even moderation."
Yeah. And I thought about you and that yesterday when I was cleaning out and your pumpkin
Yeah,
candy
yeah,
corn
the
things.
pumpkins. I have a
Yeah.
similar problem with M&Ms. I mean, the whole process has just been about self control. Can you have enough self control for enough time to make it through? And I've not been perfect, but I've done pretty well. But there have been moments where you're like you eat something or you walk by and it's there and you stuff it in your mouth and you feel the guilt and the shame. And I'm not sure. I guess I'm not sure that I should, but um, it's been a real
Well,
real learning experience.
on Sunday, go eat 10,000 calories, man.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
yeah.
5 bags of pumpkins.
But yeah, there you go. I'm looking forward to living it up. My son's birthday was this week, and it was tough I to just barely taste like just a little bit of the cake, to just barely taste a little bit of the icing, to not be able to eat. The family goes out to eat at Mexican, and I'm prepping cod and asparagus to take with me. I'd been eating Costco asparagus, and those things are like pencil thin. And I went to the actual supermarket and got asparagus. Well, they only have ones that they're like an inch thick. I'm like, I might even allow, like I'm supposed to have 4 of these. Maybe I should only eat 1 or 2. I'm like, so it's so weird to be in this mindset where you're like, I literally am scared I'm going to eat too much asparagus. Like, what is wrong with my brain? This is not normal. People should not be doing this.
That is not normal.
No, it's not. So
it's okay, Kevin. You can eat 4 asparagus that are inch thick.
I did because I was so darn hungry, Matt. I did, and I felt guilty for it. Oh man! But it was so good. When asparagus is good, you're like something's wrong. You're not normal. This is a mental illness. Yeah. So next week we'll I guess when we get back together we'll hear
hear how you did.
We'll hear what happened there and hear if you were able to do anything with your race or not.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well.
All right.
We'll see you next time. And I guess the lecture will be over there. Maybe we'll have something new to talk about if it's over
we will.
then.